The Godfather.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
Iron Man.
The Hulk.
Everybody has a favorite film that they constantly cherish. Entertainment is must for intellectual mind to work efficiently. Movies have such a huge impact not on just youth but also on modern society. Few record-breaking movies also contribute to help improve the economy of the region. My team, Kaushik, Akshaya and SreeDevi, have analyzed those films which makes money for the movie makers. So let's get into the details of analysis and prediction of socioeconomic trends in movie industry. A well-renowned actor and filmmaker Ashton Kutcher once said, "The film industry brings people together and so does technology. I see them as similar platform." With this quote, let's get into the details of analysis and prediction of socioeconomic trends in movie industries. In our brief presentation, we will go through the following topics. First, we will discuss the need and aim of the project and methodology and steps that we followed to complete this project. And then we will discuss data preparation, in which we have done data cleaning, transformation and data reduction. And further we will discuss model building techniques like simple regression, multiple regression, decision trees, etc. Lastly, data splitting and subsampling and model assessment will be discussed. To begin with the presentation, I want to address the question why the need to do something such as movie trend analysis. We chose this particular domain, namely the movie industry, as a subject for our project, as movies play a very important role in bringing changes at society level. Every time an audience member walks into a cinema hall, they are open to the idea and the message the movie they are about to watch. It is also widely accepted and observed that the film industry is rising on a global level and has a huge share in everyone's life with respect to the time and the money spent on these movies by the producers as well as their audiences. During the course of our project, we have aimed at accomplishing two major tasks. Firstly, we tried to do a detailed analysis on the profit that the movie industry generates. We have also made an attempt at explaining the kind of trends that play an important role in shaping the industry over time. To throw some light on the methodology we adopted in our project, we made use of the industry standard CRISP-DM methodology. We made progress through our project by following the following steps. We first did some research to get a good understanding of the film industry as it has spanned over the last century. We then moved over to the data we had at hand and worked extensively on understanding and preparing it to the point that it would give us analytical insights for our project. Towards the end, we put our analytical expertise in coming up with the best possible model and ran it through evaluation to make sure it was an honest representation of the population. The data set is a collection of details of different movies over the last century. The data has information of variables such as the duration of the film, its genre, popularity of its actors, visual appeal of the film poster, its IMDb rating, country where it was released, its budget, gross revenue that it generated, etc. Analyzing these details and explaining the fluctuations in the profit percentage as a result of these variables is the main goal of our project. There is no universal way to quantify the quality of a movie, but we can always employ profit percentage as a key performance indicator to assess the success of a movie. The profit is calculated as a percentage to keep this measure resilient to change like inflation and differences in initial budget.
Thank you, Subuktageen. So the next phase of the presentation deals with the data preparation. So let's see the techniques employed for data cleaning and transformation. Let's get into the data preparation. Data preparation has 5 main steps. The first step is the data access, which is obtaining the data. This dataset was taken from the famous Kaggle site. This dataset immediately grabbed our attention and was easy to obtain. For reference, the slide shows the link for the dataset. The second step in data preparation is the data consolidation. As the name suggests, this step deals with consolidating the data into a single unit for analysis. As this data covers a variety of details needed for the analysis, no other datasets were considered in the project. This dataset has more than 5,000 rows, which is decently huge to get authentic results. Finally, the data in the dataset is valid as there are no time-sensitive fields that would invalidate the data. The third step in the data preparation is the data cleaning, which takes care of missing values and outliers in the data. Out of 5,000 records with more than 25 columns, only 2,000 cells had missing values. For numeric variables, mean imputation was used as the rate of missing data is very small, and this would drastically not affect the distributions. For categorical data, the mode of each column is manually calculated and replaced at the missing cell. MIS package in R was used for convenience while imputing missing values. There were many outliers in the dataset. Upper and lower limits for 3 standard deviations away from mean were defined. To Winsorize the data, any data points falling between the 3 to 5 standard deviation away from mean range are replaced with these limits. As we know, not all outliers are errors. Any data points falling out of the 5 standard deviation range are manually inspected and errors are removed. This ends the data cleaning phase in the data preparation. The next step is to transform the data. As the data is mostly positive and showed skewed distributions, log transformation was performed. Also, log transformation here is favored, keeping in mind the ease of interpreting the results. The slide shows the distributions of 2 variables, total cast Facebook likes and IMDb scores, after the transformations have been performed. The distributions were improved after the transformations have been performed. The last step in the data preparation is the data reduction. Any irrelevant columns not needed for analysis are removed. Columns showing collinearity are also removed as they may not add any value-added insights to the analysis and increase redundancy. Director and actor names are removed as the analysis requires the popularity and not the names of the director or the actors. The column language was clustered using domain expertise. For example, all Indian languages are grouped into one cluster and languages not too popular are grouped into another, and so on. The variables country and language can be mapped as people in a country make movies in their own language and not any other. Hence, country was removed. Few variables not following the linearity assumptions and having extremely bad distributions are also removed from the analysis. Later, principal component analysis and factor analysis were performed to remove any redundancies. It was observed in the principal component analysis that not many variables showed correlations and the results did not give any significant results. Later, factor analysis was performed and it was observed that actor 1 Facebook likes and total cast Facebook likes are loading into the second factor notably, which suggests that it is mainly the popularity of the protagonist that contributes and not the popularity of the remaining artists. Hence, total cast Facebook likes has been removed from the analysis. This ends the data reduction and the data preparation phase of the project. The next phase is the model building, which is covered by my teammate Akshaya.
Thank you, SreeDevi. Now let's go ahead with the modeling techniques.
Profit_% is a continuous target variable. Thereby, we take 4 models: simple regression, multiple regression, decision tree, and neural network for model building purpose. Among these, simple regression is a model wherein the target can be predicted with respect to only one predictor variable. We wish to analyze all the variables' impact on the target variable. Therefore, we do not build a simple regression model. Neural network is a black box technique, and understanding and explaining this model would be highly difficult. Therefore, we do not build a neural network also. We choose multiple regression and decision tree for performing model building and predictive analysis. Before building the model, it is essential to perform data splitting and subsampling. This is so because the model that we build should not be overfit with the training dataset. Thereby, it is tested on the validation dataset also for better flexibility. 80-20 split is chosen over 50-40 or 70-30 split. This is so because the values were more closer to the summary statistics in this split. A 2-sample Welch t-test was also performed and identified that the p-value is not significant for the training, validation, and the original dataset. This means that The split of 80-20 works perfectly fine and the means are almost similar. Let us move on to the multiple regression technique. Multiple regression technique is an extension of the simple linear regression model. However, the target profit percentage can be predicted with respect to various other variables and their impact is studied on the target variable. In order to continue with the modeling, we need to check for certain assumptions in case of multiple regression model. Initially, the first assumption is the linearity. This is taken care of in the data transformation and the data reduction cases. The variables which are not linearly related to the target variable, their transformation is done and the assumption is taken care of. Next is the collinearity. Assumption of multicollinearity would test the correlation. A VIF factor of greater than 5 would exhibit the problem of multicollinearity. However, we had all the values less than 5, thereby this assumption was satisfied. Next, the homoscedasticity assumption. Constant variance spread over the data. Over various variables, it should be consistent and it should not change, else it is called heteroscedasticity. A single plot of residuals on the y and profit percentage of x is plotted. It is observed that not very many outliers are present in the model and the model satisfies the homoscedasticity principle. This assumption is checked only after the model is built. Similarly, independence of residuals and normality assumptions can only be checked after the model is built, and we did the same. The independence of residuals states that from the Durbin-Watson test, the p-value is found to be not so significant, therefore the residuals are independent and the assumption is satisfied. Next, we move to the normality assumption. Here, the fitness of the entire model is tested by building a QQ plot of the model. From the observation, we see that from the plot, we observe that the model appears normal and there were not very many outliers and the model can be highly accurate. Next, we move on to the results of the multiple regression model. It is observed that once the model is built, the variables that make a significant impact are gross, face number in post, budget, rating PG, rating R, and rating PG-13. This shows that this also makes a logical sense because the money that is invested in making a movie, the popularity of the movie on the internet base, and the content of the movie, the rating which the critics give, would definitely make a significant impact on the kind of movie that is built. Now, the profit percentage of the movie is affected significantly by these variables. Also, the R square and the adjusted R square are between the ranges of 52 to 53%, making sure that the model is accurately fit to that extent. The p-value is 0.000311, which makes sure that the model is significant in nature. The misclassification rate is found to be 39%, which means that the model predicts approximately 61% of the values properly in case of model building process. Next, let's move on to decision tree model. Decision tree attempts to find a strong relationship between input values and target values in a group of observations that form a data set. The most significant variable used to predict profit percentage of a particular movie can be found out. When a single set of input value is identified as a strong relationship to a target, then all the values are grouped in a bin to become a branch of the decision tree. The decision tree that is built is displayed. The target variable profit percentage has been built into 5 buckets, with bin 5 having the highest profit and bin 1 the least. A decision tree model is built. We can say that the most of the movies making mediocre profits are family drama with IMDb score less than 7.5 and rating TV 14. The results show that the content rating is the most significant factor affecting the profit percentage of the movie, which also makes logical sense. The other variables that are contributing to the target variable are IMDb score, especially in the genres such as family drama. We also notice that the nodes of the tree are mainly from bins 2 and 3, suggesting that majority of the movies performing mediocrely at the family dramas. Kaushik will explain about model assessment and the inferences made on the project.
Thank you, Akshaya. Now, let's look at a few interesting inferences and trends that we have discovered. Of the two models that have been discussed, the decision tree provides the least misclassification rate. So, we identify decision tree as the best fit model to explain the variability in the profit of movies. Now, let's look at a few interesting inferences we found from the data. Here, we see that a majority of the movies have IMDb scores between 6 and 8. Also, this portion has the greatest density of high profit percentage movies. From the plot, we can find that 1. A movie is most probably rated between 5 and 8, and 2. The higher the score in this range, the greater is the probable profit margin of the movie. Here, we see that a large number of movies have no Facebook likes because the inception of Facebook is relatively very recent compared to movies. Also, there has been a delay between inception of Facebook and the actual usage of Facebook by people. This means the majority of the movie's popularity is not captured by Facebook likes. But for the few that have come in recent times, we see that in general, the greater the total Facebook likes, the greater is the people's interest in the movie and the greater is the profit percentage. The popularity of a movie and people's perception of its goodness are complexly intertwined. But people take time to like a movie on Facebook only if they have particularly liked it. This explains why IMDb scores increase as the number of Facebook likes increases. In this graph, we see that the majority of the movies are of shorter duration, but the relative profitability of movies has remained fairly constant, oblivious to the duration. From the scatter plot, we see that as the duration of the movie increases, there is a general tendency towards a higher IMDb score. One reason could be because a lengthier movie has a greater scope for elaborating the script, which is the most important factor in movie ratings and reviews. A greater number of critics take interest in reviewing a movie if it has a higher public interest. A movie garners higher public interest when it has a greater script value. Hence, a higher number of critics for review directly reflects a better score in the plot. We see that the budget for films starting 1941 to 2016 has been increasing consistently for several years. Though the devaluation of currency due to ever-rising inflation could be one of the reasons, there are several other more predominant reasons. Technological advancements in terms of audio, video, graphics and post-production have also contributed to these increasing costs. Today, professionals are available for just about any part of movie making, unlike in olden days. And all this sophistication comes at an extra cost, which is reflected above. The steep decrease in average profitability from 70s to 2000 is a notable point. Then, starting from 2000, the profitability has been gradually increasing. The period between 1990s and 2000 can be seen as a particularly challenging period as the costs for making the movies increased by a huge margin and the profitability was also on the fall. But starting from 2000, for the past 15 years, the movie industry has seen a new era of creative force. The Hollywood movie making process is now defined by collaboration. The projects also started to become multinational. Now, I'll let Subuktageen take over to present the inferences and conclude the project.
Thank you, Kaushik. Here are some of the important references that we use during our project. To sum up, from the best fit decision tree model and the inferences, we see that though marketing, budget, popularity of cast, etc. help make a movie successful, content rating is the foremost factor for the success and profitability of a movie. This project can be extended far and wide, considering data from more movies and classifying them based on key measures and analyzing how each measure affects success of each class of movies. Thank you for watching our video. And finally, I would like to thank Dr. Branhammer again for providing us the opportunity to do the project. He has provided a constant guidance throughout the project.